Hello, my name is Gary Bull, and I am a professor and department head at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. My email is gary.bull@ubc.ca. So, I am a forester by training, and in graduate school focused on forest and natural resources economics. And so most of my career has been in the forest sector. I worked in large private companies. I ran my own management consulting company for the last 25 years, and I also worked in the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in Rome, Italy, before returning to the university in 2000, and I've been a professor at the University of British Columbia ever since. My focus is mostly on resource economics problems and relationships to poverty and climate change. So I work in many developing countries, as well as with indigenous groups in Canada, and as well with the large industries in Europe and North America. So today I came down to, or this week I came down to Durango to talk about the forest economics, the past, the present, and the future. And my thesis was that the field of economics has broadened, and you cannot isolate it from issues of culture, management, science, and technology. And so therefore, when we do economic analysis, it has to be seen within that context. So I started by talking about the past and the original uses of forests, the cultural importance of forests, the use of technologies, and how that has changed forest resources. I finished off with a discussion of management and the introduction of economics into the field of forestry in the late 19th century. This has had a profound impact on the condition of forests worldwide, and so I moved into the present, where I spoke about 4 projects I'm currently involved in. The first with Indigenous people in Canada, where we were helping to introduce the ideas of Indigenous economics into resource management problems. I secondly talked about Nicaragua and how we're working with farmers there to create financial benefit from planting trees and improving their livelihoods. Then I focused thirdly on the bioenergy sector and the emerging use of biomass for energy, and describe my work with the covered is the biomass, which is relatively new to Mexico, but biomass energy is seen to be very green and a very important part of the future bioeconomy, particularly in Europe and North America, and I should say other parts of the world as well. And so I talked about a special program I'm involved in as a scientific advisor called the Sustainable Biomass Program, which is currently operating in 17 countries around the world, and will probably spread to other countries in the next 5 years quite rapidly. The fourth example I spoke about was forest and energy in developing countries, and I will be presenting at the UN Forum on Forests in New York in May the 5th and 6th of this year, and it's around the desire of the international community to see an increased use of biomass in non-industrial settings, particularly in Africa and Asia, with goals of doubling the use of biomass and increasing the efficiency in the use of biomass in order that we can decarbonize and get off fossil fuels in terms of our energy consumption. So those were the four examples used to talk about the present. And then the final part of my presentation, looking at the future, focused on the bioeconomy and what is referred to as the circular economy, and they're very much overlapping concepts, but they are used by big companies now out of Scandinavia, for example, to show how they are going to manage forests and all the products that come out of forest in all of their worldwide operations. The final part of my reflection, I guess, is on Mexico and what does this mean for Mexico? What have I learned in the forum about Mexico? It seems the forest is under threat. There's an overuse of the forest. There are some illegal operations or so-called illegal operations, and so there's some great challenges moving ahead for the condition of forest resources. So we had a very interesting and insightful presentation prior to mine talking about these challenges, and I think my encouragement to Mexico is to look for a mixture of solutions, large, medium, and small scale, that you need the local people involved if you really want to have sustainable solutions, and the indigenous communities should also be very much participants in the change in the forest conditions. This is a great challenge. But I think you have many good forestry schools here, and so you are prepared from an educational point of view to address the challenges. So thank you very much for inviting me to Mexico and to Durango. It was my pleasure. Thank you.